I bet you. We're going to start here in like 10 seconds, okay?
Okay, sure.
Okay. I'll count you down for 5 to start. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to After Further Review here on WKYC.com. We're streaming also on Facebook Live and YouTube. I'm Dave DeNatale. It is all good in Browns world this morning after the 23-3 win over the Jets last night on Monday Night Football. The voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, will join me in just a second. Let's get started first with I got a Twitter poll for you to react to. Who most deserves a game ball following that 23-3 win over the Jets? Myles Garrett, Greg Williams for the Odell Who, Freddie Kitchens, or, of course, Odell Beckham Jr. And, Jimmy, I loved your call on the Beckham touchdown last night. He's arrived, and in many ways, he did arrive as a pivotal point of the Browns' offense last night, just when they needed him most.
Yeah, the game had gotten a little bit, a little bit testy, I think. The Jets had mounted one drive finally, and the Browns defense, which I thought was really good, I mean, really, really good all night long, stopped them on that 4th down and 2 down near the 10-yard line of the Browns. And there was a huge momentum shift at that point because the crowd started to kind of get into it. Luke Falk had found Robbie Anderson on a couple of pass plays. Le'Veon Bell was, not hurting the Browns like he did in his Steeler days, but he started to become a little bit of a factor. And the Browns defense stopped them, got the ball back, and on that first play, bang. There it is. I mean, that's what he brings, and that's the potential of the offense, which I don't think, Dino, has scratched the surface of its potential yet. But you get little glimpses, and that was a great glimpse, and then the game was over at that point. It was a magnificent play to watch him streak down the field, and Jets players in the secondary who have pretty good speed were just no match for him, and the reaction inside that stadium was really something to remember. There were a lot of Browns fans, but there were a lot of New York football fans who kind of suddenly said, boy, we miss this guy.
Yeah, it makes a difference to not have him in there. And, we saw it on the first drive again, Jimmy. His ability to make a catch with one hand and still keep his feet both in bounds. The control, the grace, the power, the speed, everything. He brings everything to the table as a wide receiver.
Yeah, he really does. That's a perfect word to describe it, his grace. I mean, he is, very, very graceful. Jerry Rice was very graceful. Randy Moss was very graceful. And the thing that they all had was once they get it, they become so dangerous because they just break away from you. And he has breakaway speed. And, it was just amazing to watch. I have to tell you, it's a play that we haven't seen in a Browns uniform in a long, long time to have that kind of a player. And I think it's only the start of it. I really do. I think there is a getting to know you process that continues to go on with the Browns offense and Mayfield and this new set of receivers. And you can still kind of dream of when Callaway is there and when Kareem Hunt is there and when Rashard Higgins is back. And put it all together, and it has the potential, I think, to be very, very, very good. It is far from being there at that level right now, but it was good enough. It was mission accomplished last night.
Yeah, and you brought it up right up from the start. I mean, the offense, it's still a work in progress, and it still looks like it's in the preseason a little out of sync. Yeah. I felt like there were a lot of times where they just got a play off before being called for a delay of game, and probably a couple times where they could have called to delay a game. It just, from the start of the play to the end of the play, not everybody looks like on the same page yet.
Yeah, I would agree with you. They're at least one tick off, if not a couple of ticks off, but they're off a little bit. There's no doubt about it. There are good plays, but there are not good sequences of plays. They're not stacking 5 or 6 really solid plays together. And I know they did in that opening drive against Tennessee. But again, after that, it just seems they kind of get lost in what they're trying to do. And sometimes I'm wondering, it's not what they want to do, it's how they want to do it to get to where they want to be, which is in the end zone. And they definitely when it all starts to click together, the end zone's not going to be an issue. It's just going to be, is everybody getting enough pieces of the pie, to really satisfy their appetite. But, I mean, there are times where, they get into a good situation and, they take what's there. But there are other times I still think that it's Mayfield and Beckham and probably Landry to some extent, where they just want to go big so much.
Yes.
And those are tricky plays, even if the offense is humming. But if you're a little bit off, and I think these are the fruits of not playing in the preseason. These are the fruits of even during training camp being on the sideline and only doing individual drills, which is what Landry and Beckham did, even in minicamp. And of course, in the OTAs, Beckham wasn't there really at all, except for the one day. But Landry was dealing with a lower leg issue. So this timing thing of where you're going to be, where you want the football, I think it continues to hopefully grow week in and week out, and I think it's important that it does, and I think it will. Still, the staple is Nick Chubb.
Yes.
And if you keep feeding Nick Chubb, good things are going to happen for the Browns and for those wide receivers, because Chubb is such a great player.
And to me, when they fed him the ball early, that to me indicated, okay, we learned something from last Sunday. Let's be patient. Let's let Chubb kind of control, and the offensive line control the tempo and control the flow. And then that opened up the one-handed catch to Beckham.
Right.
To me, again, you used the term stabilizing force. And I think that's what Chubb is, isn't he? I mean, for the Browns, it's like when all goes wrong, just give the ball to Chubb.
Yeah, I definitely think it is. And I think that they have to really realize that a little bit more, because it's easy to come out every week and say it. I mean, I go back to, if you remember last year, when Chubb played early in the season, and he had those big games against the Raiders, but he only had 3 carries in the game, but he had like 160 yards. Hugh Jackson would come out the next day and say, well, we got to get Chubb more carries, but they wouldn't get the carries to him. Mm-hmm. So, that was so you can say it every week, but the doing it in the game sometimes gets lost and you just don't do it. And I just think they just have to implement it, that they're going to get him a certain number of carries every game, and they need to stick to it. And they have 150 assistant coaches over there with headsets on. I think that someone should be in there saying, okay, hey, listen, Chubb's a little light on carries. And, Dino, he's improved so much, too, in catching the football. He's improved in picking up blitzes. So, really, I think he's a three-down back. I really do. I don't think he necessarily has to come off the field. I think he's very much like Le'Veon Bell right now.
Right, and I think even as a guy who picks up the blitz, I think as a blocker, I think he's gotten better. I know that was one thing they were working on him with that too. I think he's gotten better with that. Watching him last night, I mean, I know they had Johnson in sometimes on third downs, but I think Chubb's getting better in that respect too.
Yeah. Remember now, he certainly, they didn't really throw a lot at Georgia. Because they had Chubb and they had Sony Michel, and so I think you're right. But he worked on that a great deal in the offseason. He worked on blitz pickup and blocking, and let me tell you, he got a lot of practice doing it last night, because Greg Williams blitzed just about on every play defensively, and it wasn't the blitz when pass plays didn't work. It wasn't the blitz that was bothering Mayfield on any of the situations. It was really what was going on in the secondary. And, him getting a good feel of what these receivers are going to do. The only other thing, I'll give Mayfield a little bit of a pass on this, and I think Baker's got to get better. I really do. Mm-hmm. And I think he will. But, he's not. He doesn't have Higgins, and that's like taking a baby's blanket away. He loves Higgins. He loves throwing to him. That's the out factor. That's the pull the cord and get out of trouble guy that he throws to all the time. And that's been the way it's been since Baker and Higgins got together in training camp a year ago. So, but I really do believe Chubb is a guy that is just going to become a sensational back, and it's going to continue to grow. And I think when this team is really clicking offensively, when we say, okay, there it is, now it's really working, a lot of it will be because of him.
Yeah. Jim Donovan joins us here on After Further Review, coming off of a 23-3 win by the Browns over the Jets on Monday Night Football. On the flip side, Myles Garrett had a dominating, tremendous game. The only thing that kept it from being an all-universe game was that there were a couple times he didn't know when to turn the motor off. And I think I said on Twitter last night, his clock as to when he needs to start his rush on offsides plays needs to still improve, and he needs to know when not to hit the quarterback, but he's hitting the quarterback quite a bit, and that's not a bad thing in the overall scheme of things.
Well, gosh, I mean, no, it isn't. I mean, it can, you worry about it, Dino, in a big spot in a game that, he doesn't know when to just pull up just a half step and not hit the quarterback, because let's face it, in today's NFL, they are very, very sensitive about hitting anybody now, but definitely the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be, and I think Miles now is getting a little bit of a reputation of being a guy that is a great pass rusher, but who blows in there. And a lot of times it looks as though he is just going unimpeded to the quarterback. Now, it's not really that he's unimpeded. It's just so that he's so athletic and so fast and so quick and so powerful. You put all that together and you have a guy that's going to get in and hit the quarterback. Now, he's going to have to really, pull that back a little bit because I think now, they could get a little flag happy on him. I think he's got a lot of eyes on him as referees and officiating crews try and protect quarterback. But, boy, I mean, he is on pace right now. I mean, he's got 5 sacks in 2 games. I mean, you do the numbers and it's startling, and I think it's just going to get better and better. I think that defense and that front four really was superior last night,
yes,
and much better than they were against Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, Jimmy, that you knew that Le'Veon Bell was going to have to be a big factor for the Jets because they were starting a backup and then going to the third-string quarterback. And, save for a couple of runs, when things got a little bit dicey, I mean, the Browns did a good job on Le'Veon Bell. And, I mean, I realize they're not going up against the Steelers' offensive line, but, I mean, I thought that was pretty, considering how last week had gone, I was more encouraged about the Browns, especially in the front 7 last night.
Yeah, and it was a classic example of the front 4 occupying people, if not making the play themselves. And then those linebackers, as they say in football, being clean, no blockers on them. And that allowed Joe Schobert to have the game of his career. Yeah, I think he had 13 tackles in the game, Dino. He had an amazing hustle play late in the ball game. I mean, they have a 20-point lead. He races down the field after Le'Veon Bell scoots away from, the secondary on a play, and he blows him up, and the ball spits out and ends up in the arms of T.J. Carey.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, the linebackers, a lot of people felt that the days of Christian Kirksey and Joe Schobert were quickly coming to an end because of Mack Wilson being drafted and Sione Takitaki, coming in from BYU. And that might be the future of the Browns. But the future is not as close as we thought. I mean, I think these 2 guys, Kirksey and Schobert, are flourishing in this Steve Wilks system.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I was proud of Schobert. I mean, it was because we heard all week it was like after the Derrick Henry touchdown and everything, it was like, well, the Browns, the linebackers are too slow. They're not athletic enough. They're not quick enough. They don't make enough plays. And you're right. I mean, Schobert was brilliant. Kirksey was brilliant. I mean, it to me, it just shows it's how you can't make summary judgments after 1 week, and you just can't. And, it also shows that a team, especially on the defensive side, made adjustments.
Yeah, they did. And I really think that, Richardson played a great game up front. Ogunjobi gave you his typical great game. Myles Garrett, of course, was in the backfield all night long. And Olivier Vernon, and I think they would like a little bit more from Olivier Vernon. But it's all starting to come together. But, it was a big night for them, too, because they were without Demarius Randall. And let me tell you, he's a very, very key component to that defense. He's really the quarterback in the back of that defense. But his first mission is to get them lined up correctly, and then he does different things. And he's allowed a lot of space to make plays because he's that adept at doing that. But he was out with concussion, and I thought Morgan Burnett played very well. I think Whitehead played well. I think that Murray made a couple of nice plays. I thought Greedy Williams played a very strong game. I have to tell you, Dino, the guy I'm a little bit worried about is Denzel Ward. I don't know if it's a sophomore slump, but he missed some tackles last night. The only plays over the top that the Jets hit were on him, with Robbie Anderson being the receiver that he was covering. I go back to the Tennessee game. I thought he got lost a couple of times. that allowed them some big plays in that opening game loss. And it's too early to say sophomore slump, but it's not the guy that went to the Pro Bowl last year.
Yeah, that was my next question. Dane Brugler from The Athletic had this tweet last night I wanted to read to you, and you brought it up right there. He goes, Denzel Ward, this is Brugler, is not a good tackler. We knew that, but he's been especially poor tonight. Half the time he looks disinterested. Now, if that's somebody who has no axes to grind, he's just watching, he's an evaluator, he's watching the game, and he comes away with that about, Denzel Ward, that's a little disturbing to me.
Well, it is, and it's as plain as day out there that he's missing tackles, and I thought that he was a ferocious tackler. I mean, I think that if you go back to his days at Ohio State, for his size, I thought he was a courageous, ferocious tackler. Now, I don't know if the concussions that he got hit with last year has pulled him back a little bit, that he just doesn't want to deal with that. Yeah. But those are the perils of that trade, that you got to be able to tackle on that corner. And, he whiffed. I mean, he had really blatant whiffs a couple of times last night. So I think that, keep your eye on him. And, of course, they have an answer there. They have Terrence Mitchell that can go in there and play play very, very well. But Ward is the guy. I mean, let's face it. He was the number 4 pick in the draft from a year ago, and they want him to play better.
Last thing, Jimmy, I got to ask about the visor thing with Odell Beckham, because that was such a weird time for the officials to decide to pull a player out in the middle of a drive when obviously he'd had the visor on to start the game, pregame warm-ups, and on that first drive.
Right.
It's one of those things with Odell. I mean, people are going to pick on him, and it's just the way it goes with Beckham. But I understood why he was frustrated and why Freddie Kitchens was frustrated, because it just was such an odd time after he makes the catch. Oh yeah, by the way, you're wearing the visor. You got to come out. You got to come out of the game. That was a little bit fishy in my mind.
Well, I'm going to go to our investigative reporter on that, Doug Deacon, who was watching it unfold, and I think this one belongs to Blake Williams, the son of Greg Williams, who was over on the Jets sideline, ran over to his dad, and then they ran down and got the official about it, and I think that's how that was generated. I don't think it was Adam Gase, and I don't think it was the officiating crew immediately. I think it was Blake Williams. I think they saw it, and I think they probably, it's something you probably saw in pregame warmups, and he came out with it, and it really, I have to tell you, it really threw that first drive off of its timing, because the Browns, first of all, they rushed up to get that play off because they were worried about replay on the one-handed catch, and then they ran a bad play and got stopped, and then bang, he gets taken out of the game, and they don't know what's going on, and and Kitchens doesn't know what's going on, and Baker Mayfield doesn't know really what's going on, and nobody knew, did he hit his head when he came down? Are they putting him in the blue tent to get checked out for possible concussion? But I think it goes back to the Williams boys, Blake and his daddy, Greg Williams. I think that they were so hell-bent on trying to get inside of OBJ's head, and they did get inside his helmet, I guess, that they really tried to play games with him, and it knocked him off the field a little bit, and there was a little tantrum in the bench area because he was very upset. And take this, too. I mean, the Browns ended up kicking a field goal on that when it was 1st and goal at the 3.
Yeah, and thankfully, though, that it didn't impact the overall game, and Beckham sort of got his revenge. And I got to tell you, the look on Greg Williams' face as Beckham is scoring the touchdown, I mean, that was as priceless as anything from last night.
There was a great headline. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it was on the back of the Post after the game, and it was him streaking into the end zone. A great picture of it. And the headline, and they always nail it, let's face it, the Post does. Miss me? With a big question mark.
You put some truth serum into Giant fans today. They would tell you they'll miss them. Jimmy, as always, we appreciate your time here on the morning after a game, and we'll look forward to seeing you later on tonight for Channel 3 News.
Okay, thanks, Dino.
All right, thank you. Jim Donovan, the voice of the Browns, joining us as the Browns beat the Jets 23-3. So far, we've got about 700 votes on our After Further Review Twitter poll. Who most deserves a game ball following the Jets' loss to the Browns 23-3? I gave you 4 options. A little snarky on one of them. Odell Beckham Jr., Myles Garrett, Freddie Kitchens, or Greg Williams. 40% of you saying OBJ, 39% saying Myles Garrett. Now, I want to credit the person on Facebook and the person on Twitter who said this, Chris Smith. And it was Steve B on Twitter who said Chris Smith. That's absolutely right. Susan and I know somebody else I think said it on Facebook, Chris Smith should get the game ball. I hope he gets a game ball. It was wonderful to see him out there. And, he made some contributions in that football game with a very, very heavy heart. And that was great to see. And it was great to see everybody kind of wrap their arms around him as that game was going on. So great stuff from everybody and great stuff from Jim Donovan here on After Further Review. I just want to go back to that Denzel Ward comment because I literally was watching the game last night like all of you, and I just was kind of thinking to myself like, boy, Denzel Ward's missing some tackles. And it was one thing that I saw that he was missing, and it's like, okay, well, maybe it's just me. But then when I saw Dane Brugler's tweet, and he's one of the analysts, he's the NFL draft analyst for The Athletic. He watches players. He's interested in scouting for the draft, but he happened to be watching Monday Night Football, and he watched as Denzel Ward was struggling out there, and he said, he's been especially poor tonight, and he looks disinterested. That's the part that I'm concerned about going forward. Ward is a key part of the Browns' defense. He's a guy that, they invested a top 5 draft pick in. I mean, he's a guy that, they're counting on to be a stabilizer on this defense for years to come. I mean, they took him over Bradley Chubb. They took him over a lot of other players in that round. I mean, so I just think that that's something to watch. If Ward, if he's holding back because they're trying to keep him from getting a concussion, well, you're protecting his health, but you're not protecting the field out there. So it's something I'm going to be real curious to see going forward what the Browns decide to do. I'm trying to see what else we have out there. Let's see. Somebody said to me, Joe said, the game wasn't nearly as ugly as it could have been. It showed some glimpses, and the defense did its job. Solid. Bring on Goff. Well, I mean, you're going to get, and we'll bring Ben Axelrod up here in a minute. We'll talk more about the Rams and what else is going on around the NFL here this morning. A lot of headlines in the league today. The Rams are going to be a tough team coming in here on Sunday night. I mean, they're the defending NFC champions. They're playing terrific defense, and I know Breeze was out for most of that game on Sunday out at the Coliseum, but I mean, there was very little time where you watched that game and you said, boy, the Saints and that high-powered offense are really going to threaten the Rams. I mean, the Rams' defense is good, and then you add that into with Jared Goff and Todd Gurley and all the weapons they have. This is going to be a tough battle for the Browns to have to deal with on Sunday. So, and it's a Sunday night game. It's a primetime game. It's going to be at home. It's going to be here. It's going to be on Channel 3. So that's like super duper exciting about it. But this is going to be a real test for the Browns on both sides of the football. I will say this one other thing from last night. I thought the Browns' special teams were terrific. And this is 2 weeks in a row now. I think we can say this. I mean, the Scottish Hammer is punting the football. He's getting it inside the 20, which we talked about when the Browns had to decide, okay, keep Colquitt, keep Gillum. What are we going to do? What are we going to do with this punting situation? And, said the feeling is the Browns more often than not are going to get some first downs on offense, and if a drive stalls, they're going to have to punt the football and pin an opponent inside their 20-yard line, and Gillum's doing that. And the other thing is Austin Seibert's kicking the football very well, so 3 for 3 on field goals last night. So I could have thrown special teams into the mix because they certainly deserve it. Ben Axelrod is with me as the Cleveland Browns coming off of that 23-3 win over the Jets. You were here watching everything last night. Key takeaways from the game last night.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a take care of business type of game. And so often the Browns have found themselves on the other side of those types of games. And, long-term or big picture, I'm not really sure what we can learn about the Browns from this game just because of the opponent and the fact that they were down to not only their backup, but then a guy who was on the practice squad entering the season for most of the game. But the Browns went in on the road in prime time, took care of business, and had that thing wrapped up by the start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, offense, there's some concerns, and they're going to need to play a lot better in these next 4 weeks before the bye. But, you walk out with a win, and that's obviously the thing that matters most here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was the first thing. It's the way they were able to, again, take that opening kick, drive down the field. Now, they didn't get the touchdown this time, but, Beckham has the great catch, and this time they stuck with the run. They went to Nick Chubb early, and they stayed with it. And I thought that was big. They were more patient. I think they still could be more patient with their play calling and letting things happen.
Yeah.
But they were patient last night.
Yeah, play calling was one of the big concerns. We focused so much on the penalties after the Titans game, and rightfully so. But I thought play calling was a huge question mark, and you felt better about it after last night. They were more committed to the run. I thought they got a little too cute on some third downs. Baker wasn't totally accurate, especially in the first half, but also made some throws to bail them out of some tough spots. So, I mean, they made improvements, albeit against a bad team, but they made improvements from week one, and now it's just a matter of how they show up in primetime against the Rams here on Sunday.
There was a big debate as I was driving in, listening to our guys, Carmen and Lima, on the Fan, and they were talking about Beckham and Visorgate, and how, you're just going to have to face it if you're the Browns and if you're Beckham. Everybody has it in for him, and no matter what he does, you've got to just follow the rule, whether it's wearing the watch, wearing a visor, or whatever. I just thought the timing of it stunk. And as Jimmy says, it sounded like the son of Greg Williams intervened last night and, alerted the officials to the fact that the visor wasn't up to specs or wasn't the right one. But while I wasn't pleased with the timing, I do understand rules are rules. But it's Beckham, and unfortunately, they're going to be more strictly enforced.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of split on it. And, the timing was not ideal, but if you're not going to follow the rules, you leave yourself susceptible to that and put yourself out there for that. Odell knows the type of attention he's going to get. So I don't know if he knew he was intentionally breaking the rules or not, but I mean, it took a quick Google search on my end to figure out that, you can't wear that type of visor in the game, and you have to. Is
it an Oakley? You have to wear an Oakley clear visor now? Is that what it is?
You have to have a medical exemption to wear the dark visor that he was wearing. Otherwise, you have to wear either a clear or it's like a lightly pink tinted Oakley visor. So, but you haven't been allowed to wear the dark visor for more than 10 years now. So I don't know if he thought he could get away with that type of tinting or if he's gotten away with it before. But, like I said, you leave yourself susceptible to that. And, I would. If you're the Browns and you see another opponent doing that, and especially a star player, then they have every right to take advantage of that as well. So I thought it was interesting, though, he didn't wear the watch in the game. He made a statement with the watch he wore in pregame. It looked like it was a $2 million model that he opted for, but didn't wear it during the game. So, I mean, that's Odell, and that's, I was just thinking earlier, having written about him now for the better part of a year and tracked the traffic that you get from the stories. I mean, he is LeBron James. He is a universe in and of himself. And, some fans might not think stuff like the visor and stuff like the watch matters, but there's a reason people are paying attention to it. And, in his return to New York, you kind of saw that. It reminded me of one of those LeBron James type of performances where
at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, right down the road where he shows up under the bright lights and becomes the talking point for all the talking heads the next day.
I mean, the speed on that seam route was unbelievable. I mean, you're sitting there going, oh, they're not going to catch him.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew at the Browns 40-yard line, there's like, they're not going to get him.
Yeah, and I thought there was some irony, some poetic justice that it came against the Greg Williams defense where that angel position where the safeties lined up back at Madison Square Garden, that kind of allowed Odell to take an angle where he could get right to the end zone. So yeah, definitely some poetic justice for Odell and the Browns after the week that was with Greg.
We'll get to the Browns and Rams in a second. The big headline this morning in the NFL is also from New York, the other New York team. It didn't take the Giants long. They're going to bench Eli Manning and go with Jones at quarterback. I guess nobody should be that surprised with it, but you wonder where that leaves Eli in the future. And you were speculating there are enough teams out there, playoff caliber teams, that are looking for a quarterback because it's been a rough couple weeks for quarterback injuries, and teams that maybe need an experienced backup that wouldn't mind having a guy like Eli Manning.
Yeah, it's interesting because back when we were doing all our draft stuff and doing our draft show and prep for the draft, there weren't a lot of spots for these quarterbacks. Every team presumably had their starter or had their quarterback of the future, or the guy they thought was the quarterback of the future. But here we are just 2 weeks into the season, and with Andrew Luck's retirement, with the way Joe Flacco has looked in Denver, with the injuries obviously to Ben Roethlisberger and Sam Darnold and Drew Brees, Nick Foles as well with the Jaguars, you could make a case there 6 to 8 teams that could make sense for Eli Manning as a starter right now. Right. And then on top of that, if he's just going to be a backup at this point in his career, I would imagine he'd rather do it on a team that's going to compete for a playoff spot. So, and I don't think that's going to be the New York Giants this year. So, you look at the Steelers, you look at the Jaguars, you look at the Broncos, you look at the Saints. Saints and Broncos, 2 teams with ties to the Manning family.
Right.
Same for the Colts, although I think they're pretty happy with Jacoby Brissett after 2 weeks. There's a handful of teams where I don't know if it's a trade or a release because of the way Eli's contract is structured, but I don't know if Eli Manning is going to be a Giant to close out this season.
Yeah, I might agree with you. And then the Steelers made the big trade last night, and they got Minkah Fitzpatrick. First things first, the Dolphins are stockpiling. I mean, they're stockpiling. There's Sashi Brown stockpiling picks, and then there's what the Dolphins are doing. But I think it's a good trade for both teams. I mean, I think the Steelers are going to get another playmaker in their secondary to go in the long tradition of playmakers that they've had. I just think of Polamalu. And the Dolphins are going to be able to stockpile for the future.
Yeah, I saw some people actually criticizing the Steelers more for that trade just because you're giving up your first-round pick in a year where you're going to be without Ben Roethlisberger. But I think the Steelers, you look at this as a long-term investment in Minkah Fitzpatrick. Team him with Devin Bush. That's your new nucleus of your defense, a lot like Troy Polamalu and the long lineage of
Ryan
linebackers
Clark that they used to have. They had back there.
They've had a handful of linebackers. They always have those cornerstones on their defense. I mean, Minkah Fitzpatrick is young enough that you could pass him off as your first-round pick next year. So I understand it a little more, although it is curious. This could be – the Steelers aren't a team that's typically drafting in the top 10, although they did trade up for Devin Bush this year. But this could have been their one opportunity to kind of nab that top 5 talent. But we'll see. I'm not ready to write the Steelers off with Mason Rudolph just yet.
Well, that's the thing. That I thought about that when you brought up Eli. It's like, well, wait a minute. I wonder if if they still have some currency to go out and get Eli. If they're not 100% all in on Mason Rudolph. But I mean, they have flexibility there either way. But it sounds like at least they're saying outwardly that they believe in Rudolph.
Yeah, and Roethlisberger came out with a statement yesterday where he made it pretty clear because, the natural question is this the end for Ben Roethlisberger? And you never know how these injuries are going to affect him. I mean, this is practically what ended Jake Delhomme's career as far as being an effective quarterback. But, Ben Roethlisberger sounded like a guy who intends on finishing out his contract, which I believe is 3 years now. So, if you're the Steelers, you're not going into that tank mode like the Dolphins obviously are. And where are they up to 4 first-round picks now? They're up to they're going to have a third of the first round by the time all this is said and done. But I don't know how many more tradable players they have left. But, I think for the Steelers, you just look at this as a long-term investment in Minkah Fitzpatrick, a guy who was a top 10 pick a year ago and rated out pretty highly as a nickel corner in his first year.
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy that, we were talking on draft night, as an option for the Browns.
Yeah, at number 4 when they took Denzel Ward.
Yeah. Are you worried about Ward, by the way? Jimmy brought it up before I could even bring it up with him. I mean, Dane Brugler said last night he looked disinterested, which kind of was a
Yeah.
red flag for me as a guy who evaluates young players and watches players and everything, who doesn't, again, it doesn't have any axes to grind.
Yeah.
I was a little bit, I was like, ooh, I'm not the only one that's seeing that Ward's not tackling well and not looking well in the
Yeah,
first
I mean,
two games.
this is the second straight week he's kind of jumped off the film as a question mark for the Browns defense and kind of a Achilles heel as far as those individual games are concerned. The thing that concerns me, and I don't know if this concerns me or comforts me, is cornerbacks are just so up and down.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the Rams, I know. They start Marcus Peters, a guy who's been up and down his whole career, looked like the next great corner in the NFL, and by the end of his rookie contract finds himself shipped off to Los Angeles. Jalen Ramsey a couple of years ago looked like this generation's next great lockdown corner, and he had a down year a year ago as well. So corners are just so up and down, and even with a guy like Denzel Ward who had a Pro Bowl rookie season, you might get a 4-game stretch where he's inconsistent, and then he might bounce back with another 4-game stretch where he looks like the Pro Bowl talent. So unlike Myles Garrett, who's been completely dominant this season, I just don't know if that's necessarily a position you can count on week in and week out.
Yeah. The Browns will get the Rams Sunday night
Yeah.
on a short week. I mean, there's so many now. You got to come off of the Monday night win. You got a quick work week. You got to play on Sunday night, national TV again
Yeah.
with all the lights. This is going to be another big test for this football team.
It's a big test, and I think it's a big opportunity for Baker Mayfield to come out and make a statement on national television. Last night's game was a little sloppy on the offensive side of the ball. With Greg Williams and the Jets defense, even though they were without some contributors there, maybe it was always going to be sloppy. And obviously what happened in week one happened in week one against the Titans. But this is kind of a big opportunity for Baker Mayfield to remind the nation of who he is and that he belongs in that conversation with Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and some of the other young quarterbacks who have been lighting it up through the first couple of weeks. So I don't put it past Baker Mayfield to do that. I mean, we saw him do it all of last season in big spots, and this will be an opportunity for him to do that again. I don't think this is a must-win game for the Browns like last night was.
Yeah.
I think when you look at the opponent and look at the short week and look at everything, like, this is a game they're not going to be favored in. They could conceivably lose this game, but I do think with the schedule they have ahead, the Ravens, the 49ers on Monday night, the Seahawks and the Patriots, you'd obviously like to win this game, and if you don't win this one, then you're going to have to win a couple of those to make up some ground. So we'll see, but yeah, I mean, this is a big spot for the Browns, and I think a big spot for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, and I think you said on Twitter last night, it's like you're trying to keep your head above water to get yourself into that bye week. You've got to find a way just to, if you have to slog out a win here, slog out a win there, just get to that halfway point where the schedule gets much more favorable in the second half.
I think, the Titans' loss, if you were going to play the schedule game and map out how do the Browns get...
And we never play the schedule game.
No one ever plays
here.
the schedule game. But if you were going to map out how does this team get to 11-5 or 12-4 and win the division, that Titans game was a game that everybody was writing down as a win.
Yes.
And because they didn't win it, now you not only have to win every other game that you thought they were going to win, but you have to win one of those other games that you didn't think they were going to win. So this Rams game probably falls into that category. But again, national TV, Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Myles Garrett. The Browns certainly have the talent to win this game.
Are you buying the Ravens as a 11-win playoff team? Booger McFarland might as well have given them the division title last night when they were kind of looking through the conference.
The thing is, they've played two of the worst teams in the NFL. I mean, the Dolphins are the worst team in the NFL, and the Cardinals, I know they've looked a little friskier with Kyler Murray, but this is still a team that's probably going to be picking in the top 5 next April. I know the Bengals looked good or looked better than expected against the Seahawks, but I throw them in that mix as one of the worst teams in the league. And the Ravens, like the Browns, get to play them twice. So, I think the way the schedule sets up, I mean, it might just be one of those years where it's a favorable slate for the Ravens, although the Browns still get to play the Cardinals this season as well, still have 2 games left with the Bengals. That second half of the schedule gets a lot easier, but the Ravens have the Chiefs this week, and I think that is going to be a big spot for the Ravens for us to learn a little more about Lamar Jackson and about this Ravens team instead of just watching them just beat up on the bad teams in the NFL.
Right. Well, we'll look forward. I know a busy day for you and Matt Florjancic at WKYC.com. A lot of aftermath things to write about. We'll hear from Freddie later on today and start looking ahead to the Rams. I mean, it's like we're really into this now. We go from a Monday night to a Sunday night.
A division game after that.
Yeah, I mean, we're into this
and
thing
back
now.
to Monday night.
Right, exactly. The preseason's over.
Oh, yeah.
Ben, as always, I appreciate my
Absolutely.
friend. Ben Axelrod, you can follow him on Twitter at Ben Axelrod. And check it out. A lot of great stuff at WKYC.com as he'll be writing today. He's already written a bunch of great stuff, but a lot of stuff here in the aftermath of yesterday's game with the Browns and the Jets. A couple more things from you on Twitter here before we get out of here for the day. I said I thought the Browns, it was an ugly win. And somebody said, well, yeah, Brendo said, well, they won by 20. I get that. I do. And I didn't want to be negative Nelly last night or today. But I think there's still things the Browns have to clean up. And at times it did not look like a Picasso painting. It did not look beautiful, but you'll take it. You'll take a win any way you can get it. As Ben said a minute ago, I mean, that felt like a must-win game last night. You could not be 0-2 with the Rams coming to town, with the Ravens on the horizon, 49ers, Seahawks, Patriots, on and on. You couldn't be 0-2. They had to get a victory. So now that that's done, you can kind of take a deep breath, figure out, okay, what's next? What do we got to clean up? And then you're going to get a big test here with the Rams coming to town. And Ben said it right. It's going to be an opportunity as much as it's going to be a test. It's going to be a chance for Mayfield and Garrett and Landry and Beckham and all the stars the Browns have. And I'll throw Denzel Ward in there to show themselves and see what they can do. I am concerned, though, about Ward. I think that's something to watch as we go forward into this thing. But feel good about this one. It's a Victory Tuesday, and we haven't had a lot of victories. So, when you get them, enjoy them. But Browns will be right back at it Sunday night at First Energy Stadium on Sunday Night Football right on Channel 3. Looking forward to it. The defending NFC champion, the Los Angeles Rams, Jared Goff and Aaron Donald and all those stars, Todd Gurley, they're all coming. Get ready. It should be a lot of fun. Okay, thank you for all of your comments and your posts on both Twitter and Facebook. I'll be back with, by the way, my conversation, I got to do this, No Donovan Live postgame show tonight. So my conversation with Jim Donovan was brought to you by Master Pizza. Remember, you can download the Master Pizza app on your smartphone. Start earning pizza points today. That's Master Pizza. Taste above all. For our great director, Brian Crane, for Ben Axelrod and Jim Donovan, I'm Dave DeNatale. Thanks for watching After Further Review right here on WKYC.com, on Facebook, and on YouTube.